My name is Spider, and this is the 27 Club podcast. Today we will be talking more about Just Friends, the sixth song off of Life Changes So Fast, one of the 3 albums on my portfolio of music, 27 Club. With this song, we go deeper into the relationship with my lover and come to a climactic decision point in regards to what direction to take my life into. 27 Club, in many ways, is a morbid title, which I'll go into on the project recap, but in many ways it also represents dying and becoming reborn. I've been through so much that it feels like I've lived a lifetime, and I'm taking generational trauma into account and taking a step into a new direction in this new lifetime, which I've built a foundation for. I will be breaking down the production style, lyrics, and tell you more about how it all came together. In many ways, this is more than just music. It's my story, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you all. Let's start off with the production. This is the only track on Life Changes So Fast where there isn't a drastic beat switch. The song sampled is called Love for the Sake of Love by Claudia Berry. It came out in 1976. My mother came to the US in 1978 when she was 18, during a time in which disco was at the forefront of pop culture. There was a lot of chaos in her hometown of Barranquilla, Colombia, as drug dealers like Pablo Escobar came to prominence. She was sent to the States to escape the chaos of her country, where she eventually met my father after moving from Miami to Orlando. I wanted to use this song from her time as it is sampled by another song I like, Get It On Tonight by Montel Jordan, when I was growing up. But also because this project and all of the information I've given around my history and trauma from a psychological perspective channels generational themes. Generational wealth and trauma are themes rooted in all of the songs on Life Changes So Fast. Up to this point, as I come to a decision on where to break cycles and what to keep. I wanted the song to act as a sort of heirloom or a time travel link into the future and past as I discuss themes that affect my family over decades and perhaps centuries. And in 2 different ways, my mother with Claudia Berry and myself with Montel Jordan, we enjoy the same energy and sounds of this record over time. Kind of how different generations enjoy Disney movies as they are remade. Perhaps inferring that future generations will also enjoy this project, and perhaps inferring that we can repeat the same cycles or move in a different direction. I couldn't think of a track that was more timeless to exemplify this intergenerational angle than Love for the Sake of Love by Claudia Berry. Lyrics. I didn't mean to turn you on, guess we're locked in for the ride. I don't know where we're going, how far this will take us, but there's something that I can't deny. Been around the world, I've been to many places. Been around the world, I've seen so many faces. But when you run through my mind, you take me somewhere that I've never been before. If we moved in out of town, now wouldn't that be nice? Start a new life, now wouldn't that be nice? I'd make you my wife, now wouldn't that be nice? Have a house and kids. Actually, no it wouldn't. Come to think of it, think we just dodged a bullet. Cause in reality, relationship wasn't healthy. Our emotions wouldn't let us see through it. Let's break it down. We start off with a reference to Cheryl's I Didn't Mean to Turn You On. I saw this song on the documentary Black Godfather on Netflix. I was really inspired by the character Clarence Avant and his ability to have such an impact on business, culture, and politics in his lifetime. There was a segment dedicated to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, a notorious hit-making machine in regards to R&B production and songwriting in the 1980s. I Didn't Mean to Turn You On was a song that was referenced that I wanted to allude to as homage to them and Clarence Avant. I also wanted to use it to get a little bit cheeky with my lover, assuming perhaps incorrectly that she's now aroused after all of the hypersexual talk and vulnerability on Taboo, alluding to pain and parody like an Austin Powers character or Johnny Bravo. I start to cast a shadow on the relationship and say, I don't know where we're going or how far this will take us, but I can't deny that she is still the same person that I fell in love with on the first Meerkat verse. I emphasize that she is special to me, and although I've traveled the world and sowed my wild oats, perhaps alluding to the hypersexuality on Taboo, she takes me somewhere that I've never been before and made me feel ways that I've never felt with a woman. I then begin to build up what I see as a fantasy as I tease an idea and daydream about moving away with my lover and having a house and kids of our own. I try to build up the power and imagery of this illusion with repetition of "Wouldn't that be nice?", which is an interpolation of Bebel Gilberto's "So Nice", a very dreamy song about finding true love. As life changes so fast, this illusion is shattered, and what I claim is so nice is in reality a nightmare. What was once true love now feels like a dodged bullet, as I allude to the famous movie scene in The Matrix, which is referenced on the first track, Blackwell. I go on to exemplify why exactly this bullet was dodged. Let's break it down, take it back. Why was I attracted? Criteria ever changing. So fine, but I fell for your creative side. Cause I neglected that and myself getting paper. Timing wasn't right, you wanted a baby. Dad almost died, was thinking how fast life changes. Think that's what made me want to be a father. In reality, baby, I just wasn't ready. In reality, we both saw red flags. I was going to invest so I could get land. Remember you were pissed, I didn't include you. You never held a job, so I'd get mad. It gets bad, so scared to repeat a cycle similar to what my mother and my dad had. Love is blind, guess we were both in denial. Your clock's ticking, but how long will we last? Guess it just felt crooked. Guess you'll never understand what's being a man, and I'll never understand what's being a woman. In this wild world, girl, you need a plan. Met so many women that would love a man like me, I'll fall in love again. Maybe not enough time has passed, cause why can't I just fall in love with one of them? This examination is essentially the subjective conclusion that we come to given my psychological interpretation of trauma and history from the prior tracks, and how patterns try to repeat themselves subconsciously, perhaps due to familiarity as referenced on Taboo. Throughout this project, I have been self-reflecting and analyzing myself psychologically, taking this consciousness into account and realizing that I must be, quote, fucked up, unquote, or that we have some more work to do, or perhaps I have some more work to do on myself before I can make such a large decision of having a child. I leave it to the reader to determine if I have repeated a generational cycle of trauma, which is a theme referenced over and over again, or if I have broken into a new cycle and been reborn. I list reasons why I've come to my conclusion to sever ties as the audience debates if I've really changed or if I am still the same person from tracks like Solace and Inheritance. I say that although I was in love, our relationship was unhealthy, and now that I've psychoanalyzed and better understand myself, I come to the conclusion that we're not ready or healthy. I then reference all of the trauma that we've uncovered and tie it back to my attraction to my lover, implying that I have been seduced by qualities in her that I no longer see in myself, perhaps because they've laid dormant. Although she was a very attractive woman, what I really like about her is her creative side because, as referenced on Blackwell and the other projects which we talk about later, I halted my creative pursuits due to my greed as I had a mental block and believed that I could never make money with my creative talents, thus never seeing the ROI of these talents, leading to a psychological breakthrough and rebirth. I realized that I'm attracted to her because I lacked the creativity as I sniffed it out as I saw a lack of ROI, alluding to another mental block that I only see things in regards to monetary value, perhaps leading to a soullessness or short-sightedness. I suggest that this criteria for attractiveness is perhaps ever-changing as perhaps I am ever-changing and constantly evolving with new life events. I suggest that my lover wanted a baby and it wasn't the right time for me as I was wrestling with all of these feelings myself in regards to a lack of inheritance, insecurities with money, and generational trauma. I am perhaps overanalyzing the same way I would pick a stock or a company to acquire, inferring that I didn't have the capability to be a good father with such a cold perspective. My emotions overtake me, however, as I experience tragedy with my father as he miraculously died and came to life on Meerkat. I suggest that maybe that's what made me want to be a father. Perhaps the feeling of losing a father, or maybe dealing with the fact that I never really had a full-time father and wanting redemption and to fill that void. But at the end of the day, I wasn't ready. In reality, there were red flags on both sides, as perhaps my indecisiveness and instability has weighed on my lover, casting shadows on my commitment. I then reveal the money dynamic of the relationship, which is indicative to that of my parents, as I perceive a sort of parasitic relationship in our bond as I make more money than my lover. This shows that I have more work to do and I need to slow down, as indicated on the second verse of looking at her phone, as it's not good to start a family with these preconceived notions, perhaps suggesting that I need more time to myself, but also perhaps suggesting that I don't see her as an equal, as I'm not willing to chat with her about business dealings, as I was searching for land or real estate to invest in while she was unemployed. My relationship with my parents and seeing them as parasites is rubbing off, and I am in turn seeing her as a parasite, perhaps suggesting attachment issues. My fear of repeating a cycle where there is a perceived parasitic relationship, leaving me with a family that I perhaps never wanted, haunts me as I'm hesitant, terrified, and way over my head. I suggest that love is blind, perhaps inferring that if I didn't know myself better, I could easily create a life that I didn't want, perhaps reinforcing this cycle. I decide to move on without the relationship, implying that love isn't enough in this case, and that in this wild world, we need a plan or more practical means if we're going to survive, alluding to the song Wild World by Cat Stevens, implying a naivete or perhaps innocence in my lover. I imply that many women would want to be with me, alluding to parody and saying that I haven't seemed to fall in love with any of them. We then cut to the bridge of the song. Rewind and press play, just rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, just rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, just rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, just rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, rewind and press play. Rewind and press play, just rewind. I repeat rewind and press play as I leave it to the audience to wonder if I made the right decision or not in regards to my lover. There is an overtone of guilt and wanting to go back, perhaps suggesting that maybe I have it all wrong. Perhaps it's all in my head and I'm reflecting all of this trauma onto other people. More work clearly needs to be done as we enter the climax. I also try to make rewind and press play a catchphrase and overemphasize it, as it's a constant theme throughout all of my projects on 27 Club. You know I love you.
You and me, baby.
But I don't think love is enough.
We belong together.
I know.
We were made for each other. You really can get it on.
I don't know.
Me.
I don't know.
Me and you, baby.
Life changes so fast.
We're so strong together. Nothing
Life
can
changes
take us
so
apart.
fast.
As long as we will share.
Cause you're in love, and then you're not. Or should we just? I don't know. Can we just love for the sake of love? Love for the sake of love. But what's the purpose? What's the point? What happens when all the love is gone and life changes so fast? Cause life changes so fast. One day you're getting off the plane, next day your dad's a vegetable. Life changes so fast. We then move into a dialogue where I break up with my lover, and I suggest that perhaps our love isn't enough to withstand the chaos of the world. We then utilize Claudia Berry's monologue as she tries to persuade her lover that it's enough to love for the sake of love, again suggesting that love is blind as she says we should continue regardless of this misalignment. I am so glad I got the opportunity to go back and forth with Claudia Berry. It was so fun. I think she has an amazing voice which really adds to the dreamlike quality I was going for. I conclude inferring that I'm still traumatized and have work to do as my life has changed so quickly. I have trust issues and feel that our love won't last and could potentially dry up as life is so chaotic. I leave an example suggesting that one day you're normal and the next day your dad's a vegetable, perhaps suggesting how deep these events have cut me, affecting my ability to give and take love. As I sit in quarantine in South San Francisco in April 2020, we can see that life changes so fast as we go from normal life to a lockdown in a global pandemic. Will our love stand the test of time? At this point, I say no as I reference my weakness and infer that I need to gain more mental strength. I leave the audience to wonder what direction I have really taken, as it remains a mystery and will only play out over time. I plan on documenting my life through these works. Perhaps I will create a project like this every 27 or 7 years, like the longitudinal documentary series 7 Up. But we don't know yet if I am still the soulless person that we've seen throughout 27 Club, incapable of accepting love, or transformed and ready to start a new life. Conclusion. All in all, we address the mental blocks that I have and come to a life decision choice in regards to my trauma and all that we've dissected throughout this project. It's all about challenging myself to see if I can become financially independent from art. That is one of the greatest mental blocks that I have. That is the journey. It may take 27 years, but that's what I want to struggle well with, as Ray Dalio says in his book Principles. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow me on Instagram or YouTube at Spider TV.